What's up, man? Let me drop some sauce on you real quick. I was watching this video on spirituality and non-duality and just consciousness, and they were talking about being disciplined and reaching self-actualization and taking risk and doing what you want to do and just living very authentic to who you want to be and doing the things that you want to do and saying the things that you want to say under the confines that it's respectful, right? And they talked about this quote, and the quote basically said, if you believe you can fly, start from the ground. Because if you start too high, you will most surely die if you jump from that high cliff. What this means is, to me, is no matter what you're doing in life, no matter where you are at or what you're trying to achieve, whether you're trying to start a business or whether you're trying to reach spiritual enlightenment, start from the ground. If you believe you can fly, if you believe you have potential to be great, if you have the potential to be this influencer or to be this person of great social status, maybe you become a YouTuber or a rapper or a professional athlete. Probably not a professional athlete because most of it is based off your genetics, depending on the sport that you're going into. But let's say a businessman, a musician, whatever. Start from the ground. Don't start from some high ass cliff because you're going to die. When you hit the ground at the bottom of that cliff, you're going to die. Start from the ground and start small. If you start too high, you're going to end up viewing the activity as too hard because your discipline muscle isn't prepared to be able to take on a high volume of that skill. Let's say you start meditation for the first time ever. You're not going to do 30 minutes of stone cold silence your first time out because you're going to get bored super quickly, especially with the assault that modern technology has had on your dopamine receptors and your attention span. Can't spend 10 minutes without looking at your phone. All these video games, all these different apps that are meant to take your attention away. Spend hours on apps, hours of screen time. And you decide to start meditation probably because your mental health is bad because you scroll so much, or because you live in this digital world, or because maybe you want to make changes, but you just don't have the discipline or the concentration or the focus to be able to change who you are. Or to change your habits, I should say. So how do you change your habits? You start meditation. Meditation is the one thing that you can do that'll improve every aspect of your life. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. It will improve literally everything. Your focus, your grades, your ability to make proper decisions in business, your discipline. Now, obviously, you have to do the work. But it just makes it a lot easier to do things when your mental health isn't so bad. You notice when your mental health is bad, it feels impossible to get up and do the easy shit, such as brushing your teeth, showering, cleaning your room, doing the chores that your parents have set out for you. It's so hard to do things, study. It feels like this big task. It feels like I'm asking you to squat 500 pounds. But all I'm asking you to do is just meditate. Now, with meditation, you don't start off with 30 minutes your first time in stone cold silence. You would probably start off with 5 minutes. Or if your attention span is really that bad, start off with 3 minutes. Or if it's really, really bad, 30 seconds. First thing in the morning. You start off with 30 seconds first thing in the morning because you're setting the bar low. And when you set the bar low, mentally, you're going to have this ego. You're going to have this pride about you. You're going to feel like what you're doing or the time that you're set to do this meditation practice is too low. So when you do the 30 seconds, it's going to feel good. You're going to have a positive feedback to it because it feels really good. It feels calming. The mind finally quiets down for like the first time ever. It feels good. You feel peace. You feel at one with yourself. You experience yourself for the very first time. You experience spiritual for the first time. And so it feels good. So you decide to do it for more time. Let's say you decide to do 100 push-ups every day in the first thing in the morning. Instead of, by the third day, you're probably going to skip doing the push-ups, or you're going to end up pushing it on later to the day, and then you're just not going to do it. Instead of doing that, why don't you just make the goal to do 10 push-ups? And after you're done doing the 10 push-ups, you're going to feel like, man, I can do more. This is easy. I just did 10 push-ups. I didn't break a sweat. It wasn't hard. I could do 20. And you know what? Then you go ahead and do 20. And then you're like, man, I just did 20 push-ups. Man, I can go ahead and do the 50. It's not that hard. Now you've just done the 50. Now you feel really good. Now you're like, okay, well, what's another 50? Now you just did 100. When you're studying, instead of making the goal to study for 2 hours straight, say, okay, I'm gonna just look over my notes for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. And then once you've gone into the mental space of, okay, I'm studying, you've warmed up before the workout. You've warmed up before the workout. If I told you to clean your whole room, if you've been spending weeks just like trying to build up the willpower to go ahead and just get those clothes off the ground, clean the bottles up, clean the food out of your room, like make your bed or do your laundry. Instead of making the goal to clean your whole room, like maybe on every Saturday you decide to clean your whole room, how about every single day you make a goal to clean up just 10 things? Because for me, I remember before I used to make my goal to clean up 50 things before I go to bed. And by the fourth day, fifth day, or even by the second day, I just like, I feel too tired. My night routine was kind of intense. I'm just going to go to bed. And then that's how the clothes start to build up and the trash starts to build up and my room just gets real dirty. Instead, I make the goal, okay, I want to clean up 50 things, but you know what? The goal, if I clean up 10 things, I will have met my goal. And after I clean up 10 things, now I'm in the groove. Now I'm in that disciplined groove because me, naturally, I'm a workaholic. Whether I'm doing chores or business or whether I'm an athlete, I like being a workaholic. I just like working a lot. And so when I make the goal to do 10 things, I'm just like, man, I can do more. So that's when I go ahead and do the rest of the 50. But I've done the warm up. If you want to get into a stretching routine, if you want to become conditioned and if you want to become consistent with stretching every single day, because stretching is good for you, and maybe you work out a lot and so you want to incorporate stretching so you can help your recovery go faster. If you decide to stretch while you're cold, you'll mess around and pull something. If you just get up, no warm up, nothing, no running, no light jog, no nothing, no bike, you just go and stretch, you can mess around and pull a muscle. It's kind of like a rubber band. If you had a rubber band that you put in the freezer and you get it out and it's cold and you try and stretch it, it could break. But if you have the rubber band and you warm it up, you maneuver it and do whatever. If you get the rubber band and you warm it up, it's like warm, you can stretch it out. You'll be able to get more range of motion out of the rubber band without it breaking. It's the same thing with your discipline muscle. You have to warm up the discipline muscle. You have to start from the ground. You can't start high up. You're not gonna reach maximum success in something that's actually worth getting in like a couple days. You're not gonna reach spiritual enlightenment in a couple days. You're not gonna build a business where you're making $10,000 a month, 10K a month in 1 month, in your first couple of months. You got to go through the trials and tribulations. You got to go through your failures. You got to have your small wins. You got to have your successes. You got to have your day in and day out grinds. But you don't start out with the max prestige, perfect self-improvement day. You got to start off small and you got to work your way up. If you go into the gym, you're not going to be able to go into the gym and bench press 225 pounds, which is 245-pound plates on both sides. You will hurt yourself. You'll hurt yourself and then you'll quit. You go in and you bench press the bar. Then you warm up and bench pressed 45 pounds, or if you're a beginner, you bench press 15, 25, and then you do 35, then 45. I'm not saying this in like one warm-up session, but like, you know, when you get to my level, a warm-up session would be like 135, which is 145-pound plate on both sides. That would be your warm-up set. And then you move up to like a 45 and a 25 on both sides, then a 45 and a 35, then two 45s on both sides, right? Like that would be what it would be. But you could do 3 sets of 15 on both sides. Then you could do another 10 reps of 25. And then if you can get to 35 or 45, you do that. Just do that to failure. Having a spotter, of course, please do not lift without a spotter. All right. Especially if you're a beginner in the gym. But I hate when I recommend meditation to people like my friends, because especially back in high school, I used to be that guy who, it seemed like I was the only guy who meditated. I swear, when I would recommend my friends meditation, because I was just the therapist that all my friends would tell their problems to, I would recommend like, yo, you really need to meditate. You really need to get on spirituality. And I understand spirituality is just the discoverance of self. But not everyone is ready to understand the truths of who they really are. So you kind of have to just allow the universe or allow God to bring spirituality or God into their lives naturally. But I just don't like how, or I get real irritated when people are talk about, you know, I meditated for like a day and I did it for 20 minutes and it didn't work. I got really bored, or I just got all these thoughts, these really negative thoughts, and I don't like meditation. It just doesn't work for me. I'm just different. Bro, you're not different. You're not different. Everybody is a spiritual person having a human experience. It's just that other people's consciousness are higher than others. If you were put onto a forced spiritual awakening, your consciousness is going to be hundreds of times higher than the average person. And if you believe in reincarnation, your consciousness increases every lifetime, but that's a discussion for another day. Really, what we're talking about is starting small. You start off with 20 minutes, of course you're going to quit. You just did all this assaulting to your brain. You spent all these hours on social media, on TikTok, Instagram, texting people on Snapchat, snapping people on Snapchat, reading tweets on Twitter, going on Reddit. I don't think people use Reddit anymore, but shit. It's something to read. It's something to do on your phone. Watching YouTube videos, binge watching entertainment YouTube videos. I don't personally believe anime is bad, but it's just, there's a certain extent, right? Like, this channel is for people who want to get to a certain level, right? And that means sacrificing watching a couple episodes of anime, right? But if that person were to just start off small, like with 5 minutes, go find a guided meditation. There's thousands of guided meditations on YouTube. Instead of just doing it in stone cold silence, go find a guided meditation that you can do the meditation with. Someone that'll talk you through it. There's guided meditations on my YouTube channel. There's a mental health playlist. I'll link it in the description of all my mental health videos. And in some of those videos that I do guided meditations where I actually meditate with you, and then I'm talking you through the meditation. I'm just telling you, like, thoughts are going to come up, but you don't have to do anything about the thoughts. You can allow the thoughts to be there, and you can allow them to just pass by like a rock floating in a river. It just comes and goes, and then it's gone. But you let it fizzle out, and the more you let it fizzle out, the less it'll try and come up, or in less intensity it'll try and come up into your mind again. And then eventually that thought may come up and you won't feel any emotion to it. There will be no emotional response to a trauma event, a traumatizing event that may have happened in your life. You allow the energy to come in and you allow that energy to go out. And that's how you deal with the energy. And I talk you through that. So with all that being said, if you believe you can fly, start from the ground. Because if you start too high, you will for surely die when you hit the bottom of that said cliff. We growing, we moving, and we locked in. Subscribe for more videos. I love you. Mwah.